Hello my fellow working class heroes, good day. I am Carlo and welcome to Carlo Excels. These are the objectives of this episode. Today we're gonna learn about the index and match functions when you combine them together. So first we're gonna talk about the match function. We're gonna start with the match function definition and usage, and then we're gonna talk about the basic applications of the combined index and match functions. So before we start with the match function, let me first say that we already talked about the index function on this channel. So please, if you're watching this on YouTube, please scroll down to the descriptions where you will find a link to our lesson on the index function. Please watch that first before continuing with this lesson. Now let's talk about the match function. From Microsoft Excel's own help document, the match function searches for a specified item in a range of cells and then returns the relative position of that item in the range. For the match function, the function name is match, and for your function arguments, you have your lookup value, your lookup array, and then your match type. Right now, we're at my Microsoft Excel screen. So if you were here during our lesson on the index function, this is the exact same data that we used during that lesson. So once again, this table represents the ranking of each student for each particular subject. So say for example, Alger is currently the first ranked when it comes to the grades of their grade 7 Filipino. Or for Ashworth, he is currently the second he has the second highest grade for grade 7 math. Or you have here Antonio, for example, who has the third highest grade in grade 7 TLE. So that is the kind of data that we're going to use for this particular lesson. So once again, what is the match function? The match function returns the relative position of data that you are looking for. Please note that the match function only works one way. It's a one-dimensional kind of lookup. So in other words, it only works vertically or horizontally, but it doesn't work 2D. So the best way to explain the match function is to show you how it works. So let's use the match function in this case. So match, and then open parenthesis. The first thing that it's going to look for is going to ask for is the lookup value. So say for example, for grade 7 Filipino, we're looking for the position of the number 2, like this, and then we press comma. Next, it's going to look for the lookup array. So the lookup array is this column here. So once again, you're looking for the number 2 in this array here. You're looking for the position of 2 in this array here. So the next argument that Microsoft Excel will look for is the match type. So once you pick a match type, take note that you only have 3 choices in this case. So it's either going to be a -1, it's going to be a -1 for less than, and then you have 0 for an exact match, and then -1 for a greater than match. In most cases, you're looking for an exact match anyway. So let's just put in here a 0, and then let's close the parenthesis. So that is what your match function is going to look like, and then we press enter. So you have here a result of 9. Now, why is that so? Because if you pay attention to the row that we specified as our lookup array, so this is the lookup array that we specified here, the one that's highlighted in blue, you will see that 2, which was the lookup value that we were looking for, 2 is currently in the 9th position. So this is the first position. This is the G7 Filipino header. This is the first position. Second, this is the third, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So 2 is in the 9th position. So that is why the match function returns a 9. So of course, the match function does not only work for numbers, it also works for text. So let's try looking for the position of grade 7 math over here. So what we do is match function like so, and then we're looking for the lookup value of grade 7 math. So we put in here, of course, the quotation marks, the G7 math like this, because that is what we're looking for. And then this is our lookup array. So once again, the match function only works one-dimensionally. So we can only go vertically or horizontally, not both. So this is the array in which we're looking for math. And then we're looking for an exact match. So we put in here a 0 for the match type. And then we press enter. So it gives us back a result of 4. Now, why is it 4? Because once again, we're looking for grade 7 math, and this is the array that we specified in our argument. So this is the first position, this is the second position, this is the third position, and this is the fourth position. So that is why the result of this match function is 4. Now, just like what you've seen a while ago, one of the best ways to use the match function is if you combine it with the index function. Note that the match function gives you the relative position of a cell, and this relative position is what we can use as coordinates for the index function. So for this next example, this is what we're going to do. You see here a blank for student, and you see here a blank for the subject. So what we want to do is, we want to enter a student here, and then we want to enter a subject here. Once we enter a student and a subject here, we want to get back the rank of that particular student for that particular subject. And we're going to do this using the index and match functions. So first, let's get the student blank ready. Let's put in here a drop-down list. So we already learned this in a previous lesson. So let's use data validation. Let's turn this into a list. And this is going to be the source of the list, like this. And then we press OK. So we have now here a drop-down list of the students. Next, let's create a drop-down list for the subject. So once again, we click on this cell here, data validation. Let's create a list. And then this is going to be the source of the list right here. So we now have a drop-down list of all of the subjects. Next, let's prepare the row part of the index function later, and we're going to use the match function for this. So for the row part, we want to select a student, and based on the student that we select, we want that to be the row that the index function is going to use. Say for example, if we're going to pick Ashworth, then that means this is the row that we're going to find values on. If we pick Agua, for example, then this is going to be the row that we're going to find values on. So let's prepare the row part of the index function using the match function. So for the match function, equals, and then we put in here match like this. So the lookup value is over here. This is the lookup value because this is where we're going to put the name of the student later on. Then lookup array is this column right here. This is the lookup array, and then we're looking for an exact match like this, and press enter. So it says there, value not available error, but if we select a name here, then we have the corresponding row for that particular student. So Abby is on the second row, as you can see here. Then we have here Antonio is on the 6th row. This is the 6th row, etc., etc. Next, let's specify a column. So we want to pick a subject, and based on the subject, we want to use that particular column. That is where we're going to find the values as per the index function. So say for example, if we pick G7 English later, then this is going to be the column that the index function is going to find values on. If we pick G7 TLE, then we use this column. So let's use the match function for this. So match, and then the lookup value is going to be this. This is where we're going to put our subjects later. And then the lookup array is this part here. And then match type is going to be an exact match like this. So value not available error, but if we pick a subject, grade 7 Filipino, grade 7 Filipino is the second column, just like what you can see here. Grade 7 Social Studies is the 6th column, just like what you can see here. So you now have a row and a column based on the student and the subject that we picked. And now that we have coordinates for the row and the column, we can now use, of course, the index function for this. So equals index function like this. This is going to be the whole array. This is going to be the map, in other words, row number. And once again, just like I mentioned in the previous lesson, this is just like a GPS. So for the row number, this is the latitude, and column number, this is the longitude. And then close parenthesis, press enter. So you will now see the result over here. So let's check the results. For Antonio, grade 7 Social Studies, Antonio for grade 7 Social Studies is ranked 2nd. So if we pick another student, say for example, Armistead for math, he is currently rank 7. And then say for example, Alger for values, currently Alger for values, yes, he is rank 2. So that is how you use the index and match functions together. And of course, you don't even need these cells over here because these the match function that you can see on the screen can in fact be directly inserted into the index function. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're going to take this match function that we created a while ago here, and then we're going to insert it here, over there. And then this match function for the column, we're going to copy that, and then we're going to insert that over here. So you now have, what you can see now on the screen is an index function with the match function for the row and the match function for the column, exactly as it was intended. So you press enter, and we can actually now remove, for the purposes of showing it, let's delete those columns, and you will now see that without additional helper cells here, we now have an index match function which works properly. Now, the beauty of the index match functions when combined together is this. In the VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP functions, the VLOOKUP function can only look to the right. The HLOOKUP function can only look downwards. But for the index match functions, you can actually look both ways. In other words, you can use, for the VLOOKUP functions, you can only use this as the lookup value, and then you can only have Microsoft Excel check rightwards. But with the index match function, you can actually look in the middle of a table, and then you can have Microsoft Excel either look left or look right. Look left. Again, you can use this column. You can have Microsoft Excel either look left or look right based on how you set the coordinates for the index match functions. So for this example, this is what we're going to do. A while ago, what we did was we specified a student, and then we specified a subject, and then we got back the rank. Let's do it the other way around. Let us specify a subject, and then let's specify a rank. Then we ask Microsoft Excel to tell us which student got that rank for that particular subject. So for this, we're going to first prepare some helper cells. So let's create a new column here, the one that we're going to search. So let's copy that here, and then let's beautify this a little bit with some lines like this. We're going to name this column as the search column. Next, let's prepare a drop-down list for this space for the subject over here. So data validation, and then let's create a list. This is going to be the source of the list over here, and then okay. So we now have a drop-down list of the subjects right there. The next thing that we want to do is we want this column here. We want the search function, the search column rather, to display values based on the subject that we display here. So for example, if we pick grade 7 math, this column should have the grade 7 math values right here. If we pick, for example, social studies, then this should have the values for the social studies right there. So we can use the index match function for this. So let's do index like this, and then this is going to be the array that we're going to use over here. This is the array, and then we're going to pick a row number. Now, this is only just one row, so therefore we can just put one right there because it's only just one row. So always use row number 1. Next, for the column number, we're going to select this as the column number. So whatever is the subject here will be the corresponding row number. So this is going to be a match function right here. So match, the lookup value is this, and then the lookup array is from here to here. Please note that when you're using the index match function, the match array and then the index array should be aligned with each other. So you'll see here, the match array is from this column here to this column here, and the index function array is from this column here to this column here. So lookup array is this, and then the match type is of course an exact match. So you will notice now, as far as our formula is concerned, we're looking for the first row, and then the column is based on the match function of whatever is the subject we put in here. Then we press enter like this. So you will see here that if we put in here grade 7 Filipino, for example, grade 7 Filipino This is 7 over here, so it works well. And then this is social studies 6, social studies 6 right here. And because we used relative references here, let's prepare this for relative referencing. So this is going to be an absolute reference. So is this going to be an absolute reference like this? So that if we copy that and then paste that downwards, we have what we're looking for. So if we pick a subject, this column now shows the subject that we're looking for. So this is grade 7 Filipino ranking. This is equal here. And then this is grade 7 MAPE right here. And then this is grade 7 science right there. So now that we've prepared that, we can now actually perform our index match over here. So we can now put in here the formula that we're going to use. So once again, we put in a rank over here and then a subject, and then Microsoft Excel is supposed to give us back the name of the student who got that rank. So index right here, and this is the array because this is where we're going to find the names of the students. This is the array that we're going to use. Row number. The row number is based on the row number is based on the match function, which we're going to put here. It's going to be based on a match function based on whatever we're going to put in here. So row number is match function. This is going to be the lookup value, and then this is going to be the lookup array over here. This is going to be the lookup array, and then match type is going to be exact match like this. And then of course, because you only have one column, for the column number, you only have one right here. So if we press enter, it still says there value not applicable error. Now it still says here value not applicable or not available error, but if we start selecting or if we start entering a rank here, you will notice that this will now display the student concerned. So for example, for grade 7 social studies, who is rank 3? And now you have here Alger, because Alger is rank 3 for social studies. So for grade 7 MAPE, who is rank 1? Alger is still rank 1 for grade 7 MAPE. For grade 7 Filipino, who is rank 10? Bagley is rank 10. So you will now see how handy the index match functions are. And once again, compared to the VLOOKUP function, the index match function does not only look rightward or downward, it can actually look both ways depending on how you specify the function. So please note that yes, the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP functions are very, very easy to use, but I suggest you use the index match function. Whenever you see any situation that requires the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions, try to use the index match functions instead so that you can learn how to use it, and later on you're going to be a master at using it. The one very, very good advantage of the index match functions versus the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions is this: the index match function is actually much faster compared to the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions. When you have thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of pieces of information, the VLOOKUP function and the HLOOKUP function can actually make your computer crawl. It's very, very difficult for the computer, for even modern computers or modern PCs or modern laptops, to use the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions. But the computers or the laptops can actually perform the index match functions much faster. It consumes much less computer resources compared to the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions. So that is why the index match functions, when combined together, is considered to be much more advantageous and actually very, very superior compared to the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions. So that's it for our basics on the lessons of the index match functions. I hope I earned your subscription today. Once again, I am Carlo, and this is Carlo Excels. Thank you very much for watching.